Welcome to the Catholic Midlife Podcast, where we address the challenges and the opportunities of midlife from a uniquely Catholic perspective. This is the time, my friends, for a deeper renewal of your Christian vocation. Come and enter into the freedom of Christ that allows you to be the person you were created to be, because there's an amazing, awesome, exciting next season of life waiting for you. Hello and welcome to the Catholic Midlife Podcast. You are here once again with Karen and Curtis Herbert.
Hey, everyone.
And we are happy you are here with us. We have a listener who commented to us. They've been listening to episode number 78, Don't Take It Personally. And they said, I really appreciate this episode. I'm learning a lot and I'm continuing to ponder it. And then they said, I have a great acronym for your other listeners. It's Q-TIP. Quit taking it personally.
The Q-tip.
Isn't that clever?
That is very clever. And what a great reminder not to take it personally. Use the Q-tip. So, Karen, have you ever known someone that when they walk into the room, when they walk into the group or the situation, the energy of the group changes, it shifts, it becomes more positive?
I have, totally.
That's a person that's bringing out the best in the people around them. And that is actually a skill. Now, there are people that naturally have a lot of that, yet we can all learn how to bring more better energy to a situation and benefit ourselves, the situation, and the people around us. It's a practice. It's a discipline of a master.
So what happens when you have this kind of energy and you insert it into a group?
Well, the group is going to grow in confidence. It simply is. And that's what we're going to talk about today is confidence energy. Now, last week, you do remember last week, right?
I don't know. Tell me and I'll let you know.
Well, last week we talked about fear energy.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah. So look, maybe you, my friends, maybe you're realizing, hey, you're managing important areas of your life with fear energy. And look, we all kind of do this sometimes from time to time and more to less, but it could be your work life, your faith life, it could be your health, could be a relationship with a child perhaps. Or how about your leisure time? Are you managing it with fear energy? Remember, with fear energy, it shows up in a lot of different ways. It's not just us being scared. It can be anxiety, quote unquote, stress. It can be overwhelm. You can have this thought that, oh, hey, in this area, I'm stuck. Ain't nothing happening here. I've got no power to change. So we spent time building awareness of fear and the sneaky ways it lurks around and hangs around. And the thing about fear is, we want to take counsel from it. We want to learn whatever it has to teach us. But then it wants to hang around. It wants to sit and talk to us. And it will endlessly talk to us if we engage it. So fear, like many other strong negative emotions, it's a friend. It comes in, it gives you advice, you listen. But then it's time, to send it on its way.
So it's almost like saying, thank you very much. I've heard you, and this conversation is over.
Yeah, exactly. It really is the art, the discipline of setting it aside is so important. And one thing to appreciate, as you know, Karen, is that we're kind of like a bucket. So if we've got other kinds of energy in our bucket, that means there's going to be less fear energy in there by necessity.
Isn't as much room.
Yeah, there's not as much room in it.
I think I'm going to like confidence energy a lot more than fear energy.
Yeah.
I somehow suspect. So, Curtis, can I just say a few things I think I remember about confidence energy?
Sure.
You can just let me know how I'm doing. I'm thinking that, fear energy is kind of this, I don't have the capacity to influence or change here, either myself or my situation. So would confidence energy be, I have some power, I have some influence, I can change my energy, I can shift the situation around me, we can all look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, this is one of the big differences is confidence energy. It's not looking at problems. It's looking at opportunities and solutions. It's shifting the focus.
So instead of having something happen and you're thinking, oh no, what am I going to do? This is a big problem. I don't have the resources to manage it. Your whole response is different. Instead, you say, oh, this is interesting. I wonder what the opportunities are here. Let's get in there and figure out what fun things can happen.
Yeah, and you have appreciation that, hey, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna find what's gonna work in this situation. We're gonna find a good path forward.
Okay, Curtis, I think this came up for me recently, actually. So as you know, I've been planning a big trip to Europe. And it's not just me. I'm taking along some grandparental units who are in their 80s. So it's been I don't know what the word is. It's been complex to try to create the right kind of trip that will be easy and make everyone have a great time. So at one point, initially, I was really overwhelmed because I don't travel a lot. And I was thinking, oh, this is really hard. There's so many details. I don't know that I have enough time. I don't know what I'm doing, et cetera, et cetera. So over time, I really invested my time and I spent a lot of time researching. I spent energy. I was trying to figure out all these details and I started to grow in confidence about the trip. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm feeling confident. However, at one point, I sort of stopped and thought, this is going to be a great trip no matter what. And we're going to have an awesome time, whether or not I finish all these details and whether or not we see every last thing and whether or not I've got every T crossed and I dotted in terms of planning. We are going to show up and have an awesome time no matter what. And that was actually a different kind of confidence. It was more confidence in that we all had the power to create the trip that we wanted and we could do it no matter what.
Yeah, how did that feel?
Well, it was very freeing because it freed me from the burden of the overwhelm and all the stuff that I was trying to do. And I could still do that, but I wasn't as stressed out about the outcome because I knew that each of us could do great things to have a great trip.
So your brain was way down there in the details and really stressing over, can I get all these competing concerns to balance and to even make this work at all?
Yeah, I kept saying, oh no, that's a problem. I need to figure it out. I need to fix it. Oh no, that's a problem. I need to fix that problem. And then I started to shift around, well, it doesn't have to be a problem. We can do what we want.
Well, and your perspective broadened out, so it panned out to take in a much bigger perspective, which is, hey, I'm here with some important people, some great people in a great environment, and this is going to be a memorable trip. It's going to be great no matter what. So your perspective broadened out.
Exactly.
Confidence energy is going to come with that broader perspective. So I think that's a great example. Here's another example, Karen, and we're talking about confidence energy because we want to get beyond sort of your everyday understanding of the word confidence. We want to get down to that deep-rooted conviction based on some realities in your life that, hey, I can make this work. I can find solutions here. So we had a client testimonial. I think it's still up on the webpage. It's been there under the coaching section. And it's Anne. Anne was a lady who had to go back to work. She was on maternity leave. And it turned out she had to go back to work for her former employer. She was not excited about this because there was history there.
Oh, yes.
And she needed a lot more money, and she needed certain things to happen in her job. She was in sales. I think she needed the right territory that was commensurate with her experience. And so she was saying, there's no way my former employers are going to give me all the things that I want and need. It's just not going to happen. And so we had some time and we started to work together, and we had to kind of keep peeling back these layers of the onion, these beliefs about why this was not possible, because it was always possible for her to go to them and make a proposal, make an offer. That door was open to at least talk to them, but she didn't want to, but she had to. She was stuck. And as we worked through all of the, I guess, the negative beliefs, the limiting beliefs, we started to find some true things. The reality was that with the right conditions, she was reasonably confident that she would be very productive for them. And she eventually resolved that when she went into that meeting, she wasn't going to just make a presentation or apologize for the past or beg. Instead, she was going to come in with supreme, incredible confidence and explain to them what the possibilities were for that job. And so she went in, she had the interview, she told them what she could do for them and why. And before the interview was over, they were already offering her the job because she walked in and turned the energy around in that room and was able to tell them what she could do.
Wow. So it's almost like in the work that she did with you, she was able to get from the fear energy and access the confidence energy and show up with that regardless of whatever outcome might happen.
Right. And it wasn't just a matter of getting pumped up. It was getting rid of the fear energy so she could start to see the opportunities in that situation to put together the pieces that would be a really compelling win-win for everyone.
So this is part, I wonder, of what you're talking about in terms of expanding your vision, that there's these opportunities and possibilities that when we're stuck, we can't even see them as possibilities.
Yeah, and as our listeners probably know by now, having listened to us, is that stress and anxiety, it starts to create kind of a tunnel vision, starts to shut your mind down, and getting out of that mode is so important for seeing what might be possible and how you can do your best.
One thing I'm thinking about in your example, it's not really the kind of confidence that comes, say, when you're an expert in your field and you know your subject matter really well. I mean, I'm sure your client was very capable and knew what she was doing, but this confidence seems to go beyond just, I know what I'm doing. I could do a really good job here.
Yeah, so you're pointing towards experiential confidence. It's the I've been there, I've done that, I know I can do it kind of confidence. And that's often what we think of when, the word comes up. But let's talk a little more about general confidence. That's the confidence that comes from having success in one area of life and letting that translate into a more general confidence that says, hey, come what may, I'm going to be able to deal with it.
So it's confidence in myself and not necessarily in the things I know how to do.
It's confidence in myself, and it's trust in providence. It's trust in God's action in your life that he is going to bring you the things that you need.
I think this is kind of the difference that I was mentioning earlier between, like, if I do enough research and planning, then I'll have confidence versus I can do all that, but that's not actually where my confidence comes from. It comes from a trust and belief in myself and in the provision of God and providence, as you mentioned, and confidence in the other people who are going to be there with me.
And you're really starting to point to the power of confidence energy because it's connected to something deep within you, which is your spiritual life, which is connected to God. The connection comes through you interiorly, and you want to access that. And trust isn't easy, but that's why we practice hope. We're always practicing hope. We're leaning in on it. Now, this idea of general confidence, this really reminds me of the gym.
Really?
Yeah. So the gym I go to, they're always collecting testimonies.
Yeah.
It's testimonies from folks, mostly ladies. That's who shows up. We do these group workouts, and they put in a lot of time and effort doing the work over the weeks and months and longer even. And they get to a certain point where they've hit some kind of milestone. Like they can see that they're getting stronger. Usually with these ladies, they're losing some weight. And then they're ready. Oh, I'm ready to give my testimony now. However that shakes out, there's this common theme that they almost always say, I have more confidence. I have more confidence now because
Interesting.
They've been through this challenge and they've met it. And yeah, it's just the gym. It's working out, but it translates into a more general confidence in their life.
So what I'm hearing is that it's not just I'm confident in my ability to show up and do the workout and get some results. It's translating more into a confidence in themselves and who they are.
Exactly. And they didn't have to sit around and work on translating that success into a general confidence. It just happens. It happens automatically. That's how we work. We realize, wow, I am much more resourceful than I thought. Look at what I can do now. And wow, what else is possible for me?
This is making me think of all the inspirational stories you hear from people who say things like, well, I never thought I could do X, but somehow I was in this situation and I did X, or I decided to invest in achieving this new kind of goal. And then because they did it, it changes their whole perspective on who they are and what they can do.
Yeah, and they go on to lead very powerful lives. And the thing about the ladies at the gym is, yeah, they are doing a lot and they are having success, but they're not necessarily the longest, most enduring person. Like, it's not like they're at the top of the heap. It's just they're showing up and they're doing a great job. And that's what's great about midlife is we've shown up. We have had successes in our life. We've been through a lot. I never met anybody at midlife that said, oh, I haven't been through much. It's been so easy.
I had a super easy life.
Yeah. And we can look on that and find those things and that we have achieved, that we've overcome. And this can translate into a more general sense of confidence, just like the ladies at the gym. Now, there are some traps here. We've got that negative bias.
That's just what I was thinking of.
Yeah. So we can look back on our lives and we can really focus on regrets and we can make comparisons, which is such a deal killer.
And we can judge all of our choices.
Second
guess ourselves.
And that's not helpful. It's not even the truth. It's not the whole truth. The reality is, hey, we've had some successes. There are things we can do. We are grown men, we're grown women, and let's translate that into some confidence, energy that we can bring to our life.
Recently, Curtis, you were telling me something about, you read it, I think, online, but at this point in history, you and I are actually watching NBA basketball, which we have not done ever.
Right.
In our marriage. But of course, it was triggered by the Timberwolves getting to the playoffs, which has, I think, not happened much, and it's very exciting. So you were telling me, though, in the series they had with the Nuggets that, and you're going to have to explain this a little more, but they had these great games, and then they had these games that they lost really big to the Nuggets. And someone came in to their locker room because they were in this, they were stuck in the games they lost and all the things they did wrong. So can you tell the story?
Yeah, exactly. So the Timberwolves basketball team won 2 games, and they did a good job, and they really beat up on the Denver Nuggets. And then the Nuggets crushed the Wolves 3 games in a row and just dismembered them. It was ugly. And
I don't think I watched those.
Yeah, and the coaches for the Timberwolves sat them down, and they had a video collage of all the commentators that were talking about those first 2 games and all the things they had done so well, and all the basketball moves and the matchups and how they had great success. And Anthony Edwards, their biggest star, said you could feel the energy shift in that room because they'd just been crushed 3 times in a row. But all of a sudden they remembered, oh yeah, that's me. That's us. We can focus on our strengths. We have some power here to carry this forward. And sure enough, they went on and won the last 2 games and advanced in the finals.
So it helped them to have that focus and engagement. They could tap into all that success energy that they had and set aside their focus on all the things they did wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure they continued to learn from what they did wrong, but they focused their energy on those successes and remembering who they could be.
I think I've heard a lot of research around this issue that if you're focused on the things that you can do or the successful things and you're oriented towards those, then that's the direction you're actually going to go. But if you're thinking about all of the problems or the things that didn't go so well or you wish you'd done differently, that's the direction you're going to go. So it's perhaps one of the tips to leaning into confidence energy.
Absolutely. In sports, these great athletes, they know that you have to have a winning mindset. And in our lives, I don't want to use the word winning mindset, but we want to have this confident mindset that, oh, I may have some setbacks or whatever. Things come up. There are obstacles in life, surprise. But I have some resources here to work through to get to the solutions and the opportunities that I want.
So I want to say something to all the moms out there, because when we have our kids whom we love so dearly and we want them to succeed, we want them to win at what they're doing and feel successful and have a great life. And I think we can translate energy or communicate energy to them that is not confidence energy. So if I'm looking at my young adult who probably is struggling in one way or another, because it's a hard time when you're working through all those transitions and identity issues and this and that, and we can communicate to them, hey, you have all the resources you need. You're resilient. And obstacles are going to come your way, and you are capable and you have the power to influence your life and take responsibility for your life. And I realized at one time in a relationship with one kid that I was kind of actually communicating, oh, gee, you really don't have the resources. This is going to be really hard for you. I don't know if you're going to make it. Even if I didn't say that, it was a fear energy that I was putting out versus confidence in them.
Wow, Karen, this is why the confidence energy is contagious. This is about those people that can walk into the situation and all of a sudden we're inspired. And what could be more important than with our kids to breathe out confidence? Yes, you are resilient. You're a human being. There's nothing more resourceful on the planet, nothing more resourceful than a human being. I think it's helpful to contrast the fear energy and the confidence energy, because confidence energy can seem a little vague sometimes, but fear energy. Ooh, I can spot that if I'm trying to pay attention. And so I invite our listeners to just kind of think about, well, where are you spotting some fear energy? Where is it showing up? So spot the fear energy and shift some confidence energy into that area. I mean, what am I avoiding? That's a great question. What have I stopped working on? Or what have I decided isn't possible for me?
And what if it was possible? What would that look like? What if I believed it was possible? How would I feel then? And what would I do differently?
Boy, we've got a lot of questions like these. Let's leave our listeners with those, however.
Okay. If you're having some new insights, if you have something you want to share with us about fear or confidence energy, just shoot us an email at thecatholicmidlife@gmail.com. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for being here with us. The Catholic Midlife Podcast is for anyone that wants to receive the abundance of life that God has for each one of us. Take a moment right now to tell a friend about us.